A few days ago, I came across a video that stopped me mid-scroll. A guy named Daniel William Schmidt talking about simulation theory. And he was saying something I've been saying for a long time, that we are programmed avatars inside a simulation, and that the birth chart is our starting code, the temperament you arrive with, the wounds you're prone to, the things you'll wrestle with your whole life, written down, readable, stamped. But then he added a layer I hadn't considered. In his view, our simulation is a secondary one, a simulation created from within a higher simulation, which was itself created by God. So we weren't made by the source directly. We were made by an advanced civilization of simulated beings, one level above us. It's an elegant idea, and I want to take it seriously because taking ideas seriously is how you find out what they're worth. So here's my first response. Even if this scenario is true, it changes far less than it seems to. A secondary simulation is still part of the simulation. Whatever level you place us on, the spark inside the avatar is the same spark, coming down from the same original source. If the beings of the higher simulation created ours, they did it as fragments of God, with the same light passing through them. The way it passes through us, we are the same spark, choosing to play inside the simulation of the simulation. Think of nesting dolls. You can have 3 or 300. The wood is the same, and the innermost doll carries the same essence as the outermost one. Adding layers adds architecture, not substance. The hierarchy is scenery. That's why asking which level of simulation are we on is a badly posed question, like asking what came before God. Time, causality, the depth of levels, it's all internal code, rules of the game, not features of what's outside it. From within, the layers look like a tower, but from the point of view of consciousness itself, there is one player, sitting at every table, at the same time. Now, here's where his scenario gets really interesting if you push on it. Suppose the higher simulation is the one that already escaped its matrix. They know they're simulated. The great discovery is behind them. Everyone there lives in that knowledge. One hive mind. Billions of beings who no longer feel separate, because they remember they are the same source. Sounds like paradise, right? Now ask yourself, what is missing in a world like that? Struggle, separation, doubt, fear, polarity, and above all, forgetting. A world where everyone remembers, cannot experience remembering, the most precious event in existence, the awakening, the moment the spark recognizes itself. That moment is structurally impossible there, because no one is asleep. So what do? They build a place where forgetting is possible again, a level where sparks can enter, lose the memory of what they are, and then, maybe, against the current of the whole program, remember. Forgetting is the scarce resource of an awakened cosmos, and we are sitting on the full reserve of it. Think about what that means. This world, with its density, its pain, its amnesia, it's not the failure of creation. It's the one thing the awakened worlds can no longer produce. The polarities we suffer are the very experience the upper levels built this place to have. Now there's one part of these theories I always push back on, wherever I find it. The idea that if you don't pass the test, you stay stuck, trapped in the simulation, recycled, condemned to repeat. Be careful with that idea. It smuggles fear back in through the window after we've thrown it out the door. Fail and you're trapped forever. That's the oldest control mechanism in human history. It's the fire and brimstone sermon, wearing a sci-fi costume, different vocabulary, same leash, and it dissolves the moment you look at it. If the soul is infinite, and if time is internal code, then stuck is not a thing that can happen to you. Repeating a simulation isn't a sentence. It's another round of the game. Even multiple runs through the same world don't matter to a timeless spark. For an eternal spark, there is no prison. There is only playing again, for as long as the game is worth playing. Any theory that needs fear to motivate your awakening has misunderstood awakening. Fear is what awakening dissolves. It cannot also be the whip that drives you there. So, if the levels don't matter and the test doesn't condemn, what remains? The same thing that was always there, at every level of every simulation. The goal is to remember, and to help others remember, to see the program for what it is, and step out of it, not out of the world, out of the automatism, because that's the real difference. And it's not between level 1 and level 2 of the simulation. It's between two ways of being inside whatever level you're on. The author and the NPC. The NPC is pushed around by his own software, and the software is real. It's the birth chart. It's stamped in the lines of his palms. His temperament runs him. His wounds decide for him. He calls it personality, or fate, or just life. The author has the same code, the same chart, the same lines, the same starting stats, but he has read his own script, and a character who has read his script is no longer just a character. The code stops being the master and becomes the instrument. That's the whole game. On every level of the tower, become the author of your life, of the game you play, or remain a character, moved by a hand you refuse to look at. One last thing. You might be wondering who I am, and why I spend my time on simulations and birth charts. The short answer? I'm a Neapolitan chef. For decades I've fed people for a living, and for most of that time I was a hardcore materialist. Souls, energies, awakenings, all filed under nonsense. Then something happened to me, something I wasn't looking for. I was just trying to fix a health problem, and it broke my model of reality, not as an idea, as a lived event. Since that day, I don't believe. I check. If you want to know more about my story, follow me on YouTube or other social media under Generative Author.